The stranger came to Iping village and stayed at the Coach and Horses on a snowy day. His host at the inn, Mrs. Hall, was happy to have him in the off-season and didn't seek his identity. Then Teddy Henfrey, the clock mechanic, is brought in the parlour by Mrs. Hall. Noticing the stranger all wrapped up and bandaged, he warns Mr. Hall of something suspicious taking place at the inn on his way back. Gus, the general practitioner, while interviewing the stranger, gets a scare when an invisible hand from the sleeve pinches his nose. He shares this horrific experience with the vicar, Buntings, who laughs heartily, disbelieving it all. Now, in the following scenes, the stranger's reality gradually comes to light, giving a shock to everyone. A burglary took place at the vicarage at 4 in the morning. Awakened by a noise, Mr. and Mrs. Bunting reached the hall. The drawer was open and a candle was burning on the desk. But the room was perfectly empty. They wondered who had lit the candle and stolen the money. Achoo! There was a violent sneeze in the passage. They rushed out, and as they did so, the kitchen door slammed. Then the back door was just opening, and the faint light of early dawn displayed the dark masses of the garden beyond. The place was empty. In the early hours of Monday, getting suspicious of unusual activities, Mr. and Mrs. Hall peeped in the stranger's room, and finding it empty, went inside.
Tar spirits?
I know tar spirits. I read in papers of him. Tables and chairs leaping and dancing. Lock him out. Don't let him come in again. I half guessed I might know. With them goggling eyes and bandaged head and never going to church of a Sunday. He has put the spirits into the furniture. My good old furniture. It was in that very chair my poor dear mother used to sit when I was a little girl. To think it should rise up against me now.
Take a drop of medicine. Jenny, your nerves is all upset.
Mrs. Hall?
Mrs. Hall?
Is it your bill you're wanting, sir?
Why wasn't my breakfast laid? Why haven't you prepared my meals and answered my bell? Do you think I live without eating?
Why isn't my bill paid? That's what I want to know.
I told you 3 days ago I was awaiting a remittance.
I told you 2 days ago I wasn't going to await no remittances. You can't grumble if your breakfast waits a bit. If my bill's been waiting these 5 days, can you?
Look here, my good woman.
Don't call me good woman.
I've told you my remittance hasn't come.
Remittance, indeed?
Still, I dare say, in my pocket.
You told me 3 days ago that you hadn't anything but a sovereign's worth of silver upon you.
Well, I've found some more.
Hello, I wonder where you found it.
What do you mean?
That I wonder where you found it. And before I take any bills or get any breakfasts or do any such things whatsoever, you got to tell me 1 or 2 things I don't understand, and what nobody don't understand, and what everybody is very anxious to understand. I want to know what you've been doing to my chair upstairs, and I want to know how it's your room was empty, and how you got in again. Coming through the door is the rule of the house, and that you didn't do. And what I want to know is how you did come in, and I want to know...
Stop! You don't understand who I am or what I am. I'll show you. By heaven, I'll show you. Here.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. No scars? No disfigurements of an accident? What's that? All sorts of people, street vendors, shopkeepers, village men and women, little boys and girls, gypsies and elders began running to the inn and gather near the steps where they heard shouts and shrieks, around 40 in all. Stern-faced Mr. Hall, then Mr. Bobby Jaffers, the village constable, and then the wary Mr. Wodgers came. Jaffers has a warrant in one hand and handcuffs in the other. I got to Reston, and Reston I will. Removing his trousers, he sprang up again and flung off his coat. Then he removed his shirt and undergarments and socks and gave all the men a slip and ran out of the village.
Damn it! I'll send them to hell. None will remain alive. I'll set fire to all.
Methinks it's going in the direction of Adderley.
Gibbons had heard nothing of the morning's occurrences at the inn. His philosophical tranquillity vanished. He hurried down the steepness of the hill towards the village as fast as he could.